There is nothing better than a good sports rivalry, especially on the gridiron. And when those rivals meet up in the postseason, that's what high school sports are all about. This weekend, we were treated to the 7th all-time playoff matchup between crosstown rivals Naperville North and Naperville Central to kick off the opening round of the 8A playoffs. This is the first time North and Central have met in the postseason since the year 2000. At that time, the Redhawks were the defending 6A state champions, and the teams met in the state quarterfinals. The Huskies won a thrilling 36-33 contest before falling to Glenbard North in the semifinals the following week. The first ever playoff matchup between these two teams came back in 1987. In just the second ever playoff appearance for the Huskies, the Orange and Blue took down the Redhawks 24-6 in the second round. In the 90s, North and Central were two of the strongest teams in the state year after year, meaning that an eventual playoff matchup was nearly inevitable. In 1992, Naperville North once again outlasted Central 31-28 in the quarterfinals. The Huskies then slipped past Waubonsie Valley in the state semifinals 15-13 before defeating Loyola to win their first ever IHSA state championship. The two teams met again in 1994 in the 6A semifinals, the deepest in the playoffs these two teams have ever squared off. Naperville North was victorious once again, 21-11. The Huskies were then defeated by Homewood Flossmoor in the state championship game. The following year, in 1995, the crosstown rivals met for a third time in 4 years, but Naperville Central finally came out on top. The Redhawks won 35-15 in the quarterfinals, eventually advancing to the state championship where they fell to Wheaton-Warrenville South. 2 years later, in 1997, it was yet another quarterfinal duel and another one-score game. Central was the winning team that year as well, 16-12 in another thrilling game. And that brings us back to 2021. Both teams with identical 6-3 records, but Naperville North holds the DVC Championship and the Crosstown Classic Trophy thanks to a 37-28 win in the first week of October. But this rivalry is never predictable, as the Redhawks defeated the Huskies 28-16 on the road to advance to the second round. Naperville North head coach Sean Drendel, who played for the Huskies in several of the early 90s matchups, feels that this rivalry still burns as bright as ever.
I mean, it's still the same. It's still the red and white versus the orange and blue, and it's always a great game. And you know, we were on the upper end last time, and tonight we just didn't play as well as we should have.
The Huskies still hold a 4-3 postseason edge, but hopefully we won't have to wait another 20 years to see these teams going head-to-head in the playoffs. North and Central are not the only fierce rivals we've seen meeting up in the IHSA's second season. Neuqua Valley and Waubonsie Valley have squared off twice in the past 10 years. The Wildcats edged their green and gold adversaries 23-20 in the 8A quarterfinals back in 2012. The Warriors returned the favor in 2015 with the second round 21-14 win on the road during their Cinderella run to the state semifinals as the 30 seed. Neuqua Valley coach Bill Ellinghaus has seen firsthand how intense these types of rivalry games can be when it's win or go home.
You love playing against your conference foe. It's a rivalry game anyway, and then all of a sudden you throw lose and go home into the mix, and it's just that much more intense.
Metea Valley has only made one playoff berth in the history of the program, but wouldn't you know it, their first ever postseason game was against Eola Road rival Waubonsie Valley in 2014. The Warriors came away from that contest victorious by a 14-7 score. Every year provides a new opportunity to create unforgettable moments, and there are not many things more memorable than ending the season of your biggest rival. For Naperville Sports Weekly, I'm Justin Cornwell.